Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmuel.
Good morning, my friend Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Adesua.
Good morning.
you have to drag that name.
Yes.
Adesua, eh?
Yes, Ruben, for your information, that's a classic Edo female name.
Okay, you've done your research.
Yes. Adesua.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Mr. Efeni.
Let's move on. Let's start the newspaper review with these day newspapers. The lead story, Security Council meets. Buhari orders new strategies, overhauling of architecture. Undume, Nigeria Army is ill-equipped, underfunded to fight insurgents. Governors to meet today over insecurity. Other newspapers are reporting that meeting, the Security Council meeting. The New Telegraph, Buhari to service chiefs, rejig operational strategies. OK's clamp down on drug peddlers, consumers. NSA, Southern Kaduna crisis, a political matter. DSS warns against excessive display of wealth. The Nigerian Tribune, Buhari orders total overhaul of security strategies. I think that's total overhaul. The word total seems to be misused there, if you know the content of that story. Says Nigeria now hard drug-producing country. Sultans, Christian Association of Nigeria, call for effective security of citizens. Governors meet today over degenerating security. Daily Sun, Buhari to overhaul security. NSA hints of plan to change tactics in fight against insecurity. And of course, the Nation newspaper, Buhari orders security rejig as Christian Association of Nigeria, Sultan raised the alarm. Religious leader called for end to arms rise. Governors to meet on security economy. Now let's just come back to these newspapers. And for those who were expecting so much from that security meeting yesterday, Ruben, I don't know whether you were one of those, but I'm sure many must have been disappointed because it was as if no meeting took place. Because when the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mungono, reported the meeting, it was as if it was just a rehash of the former meeting. Let's just read it for the benefit of our listeners across the world. What he said, that's referring to the president, what he said today was virtually a reaffirmation of what he said the first time. Yes, Mr. President said, you are doing your best as far as I am concerned. But there's still a lot more to be done. I am more concerned about the promise we made to the larger Nigerian society, and I am ordering an immediate re-engineering of the entire security apparatus. This is something that I believe will be done in a very short time, but I just want us to keep hope alive. That is quoting the president. Ruben, where Adesua and Rufai, it's like when the next security meeting is going to take place, a reporter can just write his report
without attending
and wait for the National Security Advisor to come and brief, dot the I's, cross the T's, and submit your report in the office. Well, so it makes you wonder whether anything is going to change. But, of course, Ali Ndume was quoted in this story. And if you listen to his interview yesterday, I think Nigerians have more to gain from Ali Ndume's meeting than the president's meeting yesterday, because he clearly painted a picture of soldiers who are ill-equipped, underfunded, ill-motivated to fight the insurgents. And in fact, when he painted a picture of their visit to a Cameroonian village bordering Nigeria. He said on the Cameroonian side, normalcy, people were living well. The soldiers, they saw colonels who were well dressed. You know that they are ready for the battle ahead. Then he described our generals as almost in ragtag terms. And Ali Ndume is a senator, is an engineer of Borno State. He is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Army. He was bemoaning the fate of the Nigerian military, but he never asked himself what the Senate has done, the National Assembly has done to rectify this situation over the last 5 years, or even more, because Ali Ndume has been in the Senate for a very long time. So are we going to make any progress? Or we just keep on bemoaning our fate, commending the security chiefs after every security meeting while Nigerians are dying because of insecurity?
Well, Emmanuel Efeni, you're absolutely right when you say that there is nothing new coming out of the National Security Council meeting that took place yesterday. There is nothing that we have not had before, giving us hope, reassuring us that government is doing its best. Maybe, well, that's the way for government to put it, because it will be difficult for government to come out openly and admit that it has failed in that particular regard. In this case, one of the major planks of the administration's engagement with the Nigerian people. But at least what was clear is that they've not forgotten the fact that the primary responsibility of government is to ensure the welfare and security of the people. That they are aware of that is important. Now, where the omission is at the level of strategy and delivery and effectiveness. We've been told about strategy, we've been told about blueprint. There was also a reference to a memorandum of understanding. In the past, it was a security architecture, we were told. Now, the phrase has changed slightly to re-engineering of the security apparatus, whatever phrase they adopt. What Nigerians want is just security. They want a country that is safe for all. Now, the second issue that was raised by the National Security Advisor was his reference to what is happening in Southern Kaduna as political. Unfortunately, he didn't develop that further. Political in what regard? Religious or ethnic? Whatever that politics is, what is known is that lives have been needlessly wasted in Southern Kaduna and other parts of that state. And it is something that needs to be dealt with expeditiously, particularly the scandalous situation whereby the attacks will go on for days and there will be no attempt to mobilize security to protect the hapless people in that particular part of the country. The third issue that came out of that security meeting was the focus on drugs, on illicit drugs in Nigeria. Nigeria used to be a transit point. But one of the things the National Security Advisor pointed out is that now we're not just a transit point, we have become a consumption hub. And that has very serious implications, not just for security, national security, but also for the health, the general health of society and the well-being of the people. You see many of these young boys and young girls in Nigeria today, you'll be amazed. So there is a lot of work for the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency to do. That agency used to be very proactive and very hardworking. But, you know, maybe they have special challenges that the federal government needs to address to make sure that at all levels, you know, we address this issue of drugs.
I mean, it's quite very sad when you look at it. I don't want to quote Wole Soyinka, but Wole Soyinka only wrote 2 novels. The first is Interpreter, the second is The Season of Anarchy. I just pray we are not getting into a season of anarchy here. The shocking thing for me was when the governor of Katsina State said they have only 30 policemen for about 100 villages. I could not wrap my mind around that. Okay, we'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, so as I was saying, I mean, I made the comparison with Wole Soyinka's book of 73, Season of Anarchy, that it's fast becoming that, and we need to nip this in the bud. At first, we have, you know, a military that is grossly inadequate to fight this war, like I said before. Secondly, even the police force, I'm not going to say they are not doing well in their own part. They are doing well. We've recorded some successes. At least it was the police armor tank that they just procured that saved the life of the governor. They could put the governor into the police armor tank. But we want success across board, and that's the shocking thing. And the problem is, we know the problem. That's the shocking part, but we cannot seem to get our hands around it. Now, we are, let me coin the word of someone, we are re-engineering. The big question will be re-engineering what? We have a security architecture on ground we've not looked at. We are creating a short, a medium, a long term. Some people will say, and a lot of people will say, this is just calisthenics. We want the results. We want the results on ground because people are dying. It's only a matter of days, again, you hear about another bombing somewhere, another killing somewhere and the likes. We should, go ahead and ensure that people's lives are protected. Harry Truman will always say the buck stops here. Right. He could have passed the buck, but Truman will always say the buck stops here. So who does the buck stop with in this country? What are we doing as regards that? On security issues, who is the chief security officer of the country? Who is the commander-in-chief?
The answer to that question is not in doubt. It's President Muhammadu Buhari.
So we should take this responsibility and do what is right and protect the lives of the citizens.
When I hear the president say Nigerians should be patient, it's good to try to reassure the people. But for how long will Nigerians wait with bated breath to see the president deliver on his promises? When will these presidential charge and order to re-engineer, overhaul the security architecture, when will they make the difference and secure the lives of the people? I think it's time for us to walk the talk. We're tired of all the talks.
Well, in the context whereby
suffering and the long-suffering people of Nigeria, especially in the northeast, northwest, are saying something has to be done fast. Let's move over to other subjects. Vanguard newspaper. Those we named took our contracts, NDDC insists. Reveals 250 contracts taken in one day in the name of the National Assembly. New revelations on 6.2 billion palliative fraud by NDDC's IMC. NDDC is cash cow for politicians. Wike, that's Nyensom Wike, governor of Rivers State. Stranded scholars to be paid this week. Buhari invited to commission 24 billion Ogbea Nembe Road in Bayelsa. Fresh posers by Senate over 330 million expenditure by IMC to hire boats. Now, the NDDC issue is still very much in the front burner, and we should not be in a hurry to sweep it aside until we'll unearth all the rot in that agency. Those who have been given contracts, who have not executed, identified, funds retrieved, and they are brought before the law. That is what the Southeast professionals are calling for on this matter. So NDDC is insisting that the National Assembly and all others, former governors who were named, they are standing by their lists. Adesua.
The drama in NDDC. And at the front page of this day newspaper, you see that headline that says the Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs is seeking to get another fresh money for the East-West Road. And a lot of people are afraid that this one will also go the way of the monies, different monies that have disappeared under the commission.
Well, that road is in bad condition, so if they can expend some 20 billion there, it will bring some relief to the people using that route.
If it is indeed spent on the road, as we have seen with other projects. So I think there's apprehension, and you will not blame those who are skeptical about that, considering, I mean, the corruption and financial recklessness we're seeing in the commission.
Well, Efeni, I think it is good that the NDDC, the officials of the NDDC are saying that they are standing by their list. Initially we had expressed concern that the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs just made an allegation that he didn't want to prove. But he has shown, confidence in standing by that list and saying that, look, members of the National Assembly are part of the problem. And perhaps this naming and shaming, this exposure of, processes would, be a starting point for addressing many of the challenges, abuse of privileges that have been indicated with regard to the Niger Delta Development Commission. Now, in that story also, there's a reference to the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari has directed that students on scholarship in many countries abroad, being sponsored by the NDDC, who have had cause to protest publicly, will now get their scholarships, their allowances paid. And the excuse for that delay that the NDDC offers is that the Executive Director of Finance of the NDDC died, and that only the Executive Director of Finance and the Executive Director of Projects can approve the disbursement of funds for scholarships. Now, I think it's unfortunate that, an individual dies, and then the only explanation we're given is that the thing was put on hold until another Executive Director of Finance will be appointed. That shouldn't be the case, because we've seen the kind of embarrassment that could result on account of that. But, President Muhammadu Buhari has done well to give a prompt directive that this week all those students should be paid. And I think that, the president should be applauded for that. And we need to look into the processes whereby if one individual dies, an important arm of the organization's operation will suddenly grind to a halt. Now, we're told also that the Ogbia-Nembe road has been completed, and that the president has been invited by the NDDC to commission that road. Well, I'm sure that the people of Ogbia and Nembe will be excited, because many communities in the Niger Delta, they've been cut off. They are cut off from civilization.
They are inaccessible by road.
Oh, yes. I was, in Bayelsa frequently for reasons that are well known to you. And there were some of those communities that to access them was a problem. And to link Ogbia to Nembe, I think, it's a very good development. And we would like to see a situation whereby other communities that have been cut off like that also have the opportunity to be accessed by road. Now, from Ogbia to Nembe used to take over 3 hours in very difficult terrain. But now with this route, within 1 hour, you can move from Ogbia area to the Nembe area. And, I'm sure this is a good development. We would like to see more of that.
What I would like to see in the NDDC is the follow-through on the revelations and allegations made. Proper penalties being meted out to the people involved, and, a new thinking around the NDDC itself. I have been part of those that have argued that I don't see the need for special purpose vehicles. But if they want to continue it, there has to be a rethinking about how NDDC runs and how it functions. Take, for instance, a clear case of the finance director died, and that's why you can't disburse money to people that need the money on the scholarship scheme, and it had to lead to a public shaming of Nigeria when Nigerian scholars had to be protesting abroad. That's not good. The optics doesn't look good. And these are the inherent problems in the NDDC.
Okay.
Commendation and kudos on what they have done.
Rufai, let me tickle your intellect with the next story. Daily Independent newspaper. Zoning advocates are pursuing selfish interests. Olufalaye says casino monarchs hiding in Abuja owing to insecurity. Let me give you the context of that casino monarchs hiding. The argument he was making clearly was that zoning has not profited anybody, not even the area from where the president is coming from. And he made particular reference to 2 instances. General Chief Obasanjo, Olusegun Obasanjo, when he was president, he said Southwest did not benefit from it. Now President Muhammadu Buhari is president. His monarchs in his homestead are running to Abuja for security. And Ruben, you might remind us whether when your principal, Jonathan, was the president, did casino people ever complain about insecurity like they do today when their son is the president? And this is the point Olufala is making.
Well, the bigger point that Chifulu Falaye is making, apart from his concern about how zoning does not necessarily solve a problem. Well, if he says zoning does not necessarily solve a problem, the general assumption in Nigeria is that when your kinsman is in office, then you will invariably benefit, either in terms of your own personal interest or in terms of, development processes in your region. But that has not been proven. And people have given examples, just like Chifulu Falaye, that our man is in power does not necessarily translate to the entire group being in power. And hence, it stretches the argument further, which is basically the same argument that Efeni had put up in the context of this emerging debate over zoning and rotational presidents, which is that first things first, you have to restructure Nigeria. You have to restructure Nigeria for efficiency. You have to restructure Nigeria for equity, for justice, for proper federalism. And that unless you have a system in place that guarantees efficiency, that protects the interest of everybody, not the interest of a group, then you can only be talking about zoning in the context of what Chifulu Falaye calls shadow boxing. But the question now is, restructuring means so many things to a lot of people. I'm sure if we start a debate on restructuring now, we'll look at it from different angles. What is important is how to build a consensus on how to move Nigeria forward, how to make Nigeria an efficient state that will be of benefit to everybody, wherever they may come from.
And the only thing that can give us that is put people that are efficient and effective in leadership positions, people that merit it, that can deliver. That's what matters the most. You see, the fact that you think that somebody is from your area, then you should have better developmental processes is an indication of a failure in our system. We should have a president in this country that, devoid of where he's from, every area, geopolitical location, gets that important, and extremely, stringent amount of development. Nobody should be kept apart. We should have a Nigeria where I shouldn't care who the president is, that I should get development in my area, be it from the north or from the south. So that's the Nigeria we all envisage. It's the kind of Nigeria we've had before.
Adesuwa, the other side of the argument is this, that if every area produces the president and they don't benefit, like the Niger Delta did not benefit from Jonathan's administration, no, Ruben, don't respond to that. Maybe we will not be looking for the best man
that's a
and the best
statement.
woman.
Efeni, that is not true.
I am from the Niger Delta.
And you see, that is the problem. Everybody feels that if my person is there, I should benefit. But beyond zoning and rotational powers, I think there are other problems that we need to look at that can help us. The issue of rule of law, the issue of due diligence. We have the Federal Character Commission for a reason. We have the Federal Character Act for a reason, so that everybody has a sense of belonging beyond where the president or the state governor is from. If you're able to, appoint people equally, equitable distribution of power, and of course, we must not sacrifice that on the altar of competence. I think we have a long way to go. Emmuel Efeni.
Well, thank you very much, Emmuel Efeni. We'll see you tomorrow morning.